And here we are. Hello, everybody. Leon back here again. And hello, YouTube, all over the world that is watching. Thanks so much for coming back to the channel. If this is your first time, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. So, I've so I figured it'd be a good time to do a vlog, something a little bit different than the audio podcast I normally do all every week too. But by the way, I'm going to be doing a podcast right after this video I'm going to be working on, and while I'm doing this quick vlog right here. So, but anyways, enough with that being said right there. As you can see from the title, that's over last weekend, I left the platform. I left Twitter, and that's why you don't see. For those that don't follow me on Twitter, I am done with that platform, 100%. And I will definitely give you my top few reasons why I left. And to me, I'll get into more details in an audio segment where I'm gonna get through more details. But for me, the basic and few things that I wanted to point out about my departure and my leave on that platform is because, for one, is because the platform has definitely changed, and why I felt that this was a really good time to leave the platform, even though I think a lot of people never have got the message about my departure. But hey, I left people enough time, and for those that don't follow me on a regular basis on Twitter, and for those 800 of you out there too, hey, cool, you may have gotten the message, but I am going to be going out elsewhere, like VK, Minds.com, and other platforms out there that too. That's better worth my time having I share my podcast elsewhere too. Even though my podcast would be great and appropriate to post up on Twitter, which almost everyone uses, which that is great on its own too. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to question why I left too. And to me, I'm not going to go through a very long video. To me, I wanted to make it short, sweet, and simple. And because, for one, it's changed, and then number two, the ilk of the platform that has become, because with the whole cancel culture up on Twitter, which it's pretty much been terrible to having to continue to stay on the platform, which I don't want anything to do with Twitter's culture, right? It's definitely has become a very ilk of its own too, and it's been very, very disgusting. Especially, it's not just the people around you, but I'm sure there are still some good people for sure. But man, the way it's definitely has become over the past 6 years with being that platform, and especially, which for me, actually, to be honest, I've been on that platform since 2009. Yeah, since 2009. So I was pretty much like an early OG on the platform, and pretty much I've been there, seen things that I've already seen on the platform, and I know that the platform on its own has changed, better and worse. So yeah, and that's what it has become of that too. And so, and I've noticed with Twitter on its own has become very, very biased in very much way, in many ways actually, and that's why I decided to get out the platform, before I end up staying there more than I have to, right? And that's something I said enough is enough. And if you're still stuck in the platform, fine, but to me, I don't see the platform becoming or having such a long growth in the long term. And honestly, though, I don't even know how Twitter is making its money. Obviously, probably from ad revenues. And to me, the Twitter is going to end up becoming like the MySpace. But honestly, though, MySpace, what I find very neat about MySpace was that it was It was better in some ways where you can customize your profile and share your stuff like that too. Which to me, the character limit was very unique on its own at some certain points, but I just didn't like the whole character limit, to be very honest. And if I wanted to say my thoughts very, very long in a long form, you go to you go to a social forum, right? And just go to like a discussion board and talk what you have to say on that discussion board too, and be like, hey, I'm just gonna go and say my piece right there too, and stuff like that too. And while with Twitter, the number four on it was the poor social group features, which there wasn't really any social groups at all where you can just go to a group and hang out right there too. Which I wish that there was social groups like that too. And that was one thing with Twitter that didn't improve one bit at all. So that was my take on it too. There was no social groups, and the other thing to add was that you couldn't edit your tweets if you made a mistake, which to me, I've done plenty of mistakes on on tweets too, and that was one of the things. It was just a lot of people were saying, hey, if I could edit my comments on YouTube, why couldn't I edit my tweets on over on Twitter, right? And I get the feeling that at over that platform, I felt that they became way too big, that they've decided, and it seemed that they've already ignored its users base already. That's how I've already seen it, and the changes right there is just, it's not so good. It really isn't. Yeah, it's gotten so talk, and it's also not just that, but no, not just the cancel culture that's just become toxic, but the whole all the politics that's become too much. And it's also the having to go through the news feed on Twitter, which I'm definitely going to add more description to it. It's pretty much makes you how can I put it, very, very depressed, having to go through the news feed, the news cycle all the time, which I just don't like about it too. And I wish they had done was disable the news feature and just kind of tune out on it too, which I did not like one bit. To be very frankly honest, I can't. I just didn't want to see anything what goes on with the news. It was just a bit too much, let's just say, and it just does a number on you mentally, on mental health. And sometimes there's a point you just gotta tune out. And even though I could have had logged off and it would have been the best way to do it, but having to stay there and contribute to with the platform and stay with the platform longer at a much longer rate would have made it worse for me. Those are plenty of reasons why I love Twitter as a platform. It's just not reliable anymore. It's just gone to the wrong direction, which to me I think it's just poorly managed, and I don't approve of it whatsoever. And plus I've gone out and opened up minds.com, other social platforms out there, VK, even though it's a Russian platform, but you know what? I think it's a little bit better. Mastodon, I'm on Mastodon as well. So you guys can check me out there. In fact, I'll have the links down below in the description if you want to see that right there. And follow me from there over on Mastodon, which I think it is pretty open. We'll be using it much longer rate than I would ever use Twitter, be frankly honest, because at the end of the day, even though this is your account and your profile, but doesn't make it a free and open platform. You really don't own the platform too. So that's that was one of the reasons I said I'm done. I was just done. But I won't go any longer than that too. I will say is within the next episode I will definitely get into further details of why I left. So I know I've been rambling for about almost 9 minutes now, so I'm gonna definitely head and stop right here too. So, anyways, if you want to hear more on my podcast, be sure to subscribe to me on the Leon LeGray podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, much more. While I in the land of YouTube, I don't do too much posts except for the audio versions of my podcasts. But with that said, thank you so much for taking a quick listen. And if you disagree with what I've said, that's fine. Write down in the comments why you disagree and why you didn't think that's the case behind it too. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care.